Hey everybody, Andy here. Hope you are doing well. Great to have you on a Thursday, helping you build a career you love. Unless you're watching this on a replay, then it could be any day of the week. Still helping you build a career you love. Got a fun show for you today where I'm going to be talking about some next level job search challenging that I want to do with you. So get in the chat, say hi. If you're here with me live, let me know where you're from. Let me know what you do. Let me know what you need. Put some question marks in front of your questions. And if you are in one of the Mile Walk Academy programs, please let me know. All right, I'm gonna get right to it because I've got a pretty good little pack here for you today. And you know, I was thinking about this as I was doing some work over the weekend, and I was looking back at the kind of things that I go through, and I was struggling through something, and I was in the middle of thinking, and I was doing the act, and then at the end of the hour or so, I do a little reflection. I do many reflections throughout the day. I do a reflection at the end of the day, and I was taking myself through an exercise that I thought, you know what? I don't think I've ever really taught my job-seeking community about this to help them really get the most out of their experiences. And I know you're going through many of you that are here with me in the middle of the day are going through a job search. And one of the things that I worry about, and I'm noticing this with individuals I'm coaching one-on-one, but also people in the community and online and even on the YouTube channel, is that I think we are losing sight, or we tend to lose sight of the fact when we go through something that's this difficult, this challenging, this confusing, that has a major outcome attached to it. I don't feel like we are truly gaining the benefits and the richness of the experience that you are going through because we tend to be obsessed at the outcome. So I want to help you with that. I want to make sure that you are getting the most out of your job search. So yes, a way to look at that is, did I find my dream job quickly? Do I have a new job? But I think if that's your sole focus, then you're really missing out on all the experience and the benefits of that experience. So where does this come from? Well, I think a lot of us, basically since birth, we've lived on this one access scoring system, right? There's an outcome, there's a goal. In school, there are A's and B's and F's, or the kids, they win the game or they lose the game. It's that one access scoring where, did I get the job or not? Sometimes you get the job, you accept it, that's still a failure. But that's for another day. But the point is, we tend to identify ourselves with this outcome. We tend to get stressed with this outcome. And I want to see if I can get you to not only look at this in a different way, but also gain more by looking at this in a different way. And just take what I do for a second. What I do, this right here, you and me right now, we are totally in the moment. At least I'm totally in the moment. I hope you are too. And whatever we're doing, and I'm having a great time helping you, but this is immeasurable, right? I don't know how many people are actually watching this live at the moment. And while you can say, well, that's a measurable number, no, the benefit of what's happening as a result of me helping you is immeasurable. How many people might eventually get to this recording is immeasurable. What they will do with the information they gain from this recording or show is immeasurable. That puts it on a completely different axis, right? It's not how many, but what happens as a result to the act that I did with so many. And that's how I want to start getting you to look at this stuff. And I think what you do each week is immeasurable as well. And the experience that you are gaining from your job search is immeasurable. So I put this out in the email to you this morning. You are experiencing a job search, but are you gaining all of the benefits from this experience? That's what I want to challenge you to do today. So let me get to something that I feel like we get disconnected when we go through something. We get mechanical. There was a video that I created a long time ago. I think that when you think about something that you're doing, even if you are inexperienced in it, as many of you are with job searching, and even if you've done it a few times before, it doesn't mean you have a load of experience. You really probably, as a matter of fact, you shouldn't. So when you are going through something, if your energy is in the right place and you were thinking about the right things, and you are, and this thing is connected to this thing, there's no limits. So let me tell you about the first time that this happened for me, and I'm actually going to show you the inside of my YouTube studio here in a second. But I wanted to become a trainer in this fashion, and up here it said I wanted to help a lot of people, and down here it said I wanted to help a lot of people, and I didn't do a whole lot of thinking other than what is it that the people that I interact with now at this time, these are job candidates that I was recruiting for clients, businesses that were Mile Walk, my executive search firm's customers. So I would interact with these people, and I was getting a lot of data from these candidates that we were recruiting, and I was helping them, and I started to look at, well, what problems were they having, and they didn't know how to send a thank you email after a job interview, and we had to prepare them for the interviews. They didn't know how to write resumes and so on. So what I said was, okay, well, I want to help a lot of people, and I'm going to use this thing called YouTube, and I don't know anything about YouTube, and I don't really have any videos up there, and I don't have any subscribers, so I'm going to create a channel, and then I'm going to pop a video out there. And the video wasn't very good. As a matter of fact, let me get in here. I want to show you this, and believe me, there's a reason for me sharing everything that I'm going to be sharing with you here. So this is the inside of YouTube Studio. And if you look down here, this thing that says how to write a thank you letter, it says after a job interview. I had absolutely no idea how to shoot a video. In fact, the quality's not great. I didn't have a camera. I didn't even have a webcam. I used the little camera out of my Thunderbolt, my Mac monitor, and I shot a video that wasn't very good. I didn't know how to title it. I just called it what I thought people needed to understand. I didn't know if anybody would ever watch it or find it. It took me 13 plus minutes to say something I can say in 90 seconds right now. And, I published it out in here we go, in June 2016. And since that time, almost 90,000 people have watched it. If I release a video today and 90,000 people watch it, I call that a total raging victory. But I knew nothing. And if I would have worried in the first week about how many people were watching it, I would have been completely missing the point. And if you look at this video, and this handsome guy with no beard and doesn't really know how to frame a shot, it's not very clear. I'm sitting in my condo, and the SEO score, I didn't know anything about SEO scores. I didn't have any of this stuff in there. I added this much more after the fact. But the point is, a lot of people benefited from this, and that's immeasurable. And then I thought, well, okay, people, they don't know how to write resumes. So I'll put the how to build this one here, how to build your ultimate professional resume video together. It was the second video I ever created, and wouldn't you know it, nearly 500,000 people have watched it. And then I went on and I put one together for the college students, and then a couple weeks later I put the 4-sentence cover letter together, and 2 million people, and 50,000 likes later, people have benefited. And I had no idea what I was doing. And why am I telling you this? Because at that moment in time, my energy and my focus and what I was trying to manifest was just helping people. I wasn't even selling anything. I didn't sell anything for nearly a year and a half later. It was literally 17 months. And then what happened was I decided, well, if I could actually do that by not knowing what I was doing, well, what if I really started to try to learn how to use this system and dial it up better and try to reach more people, and wouldn't that help me? And so I joined this training program that was aimed at creators like me who wanted to be YouTubers, and I got in there after about a year and a half of already developing videos. And so it was not quite 2 years, and I took this training and I went through all the training videos, and a big part of this was how do you basically look at YouTube, read YouTube, title your videos, tag them, index them, put the descriptions in. It became very systematized. And what I noticed was the people in the program, what they were doing is they were trying to follow all these god-awful instructions that were sucking the joy out of what I was doing, not to mention was moving my focus from you, and I didn't even know who you was yet, but this connection that we have, it was pulling me away from that. It was focusing me on trying to game some system, not much unlike you might try to game the ATS. And what I also noticed was that the people in this training program had formed a community. That this person had built a Facebook group. And all these content creators would do is they would put their video up on whatever day of the week was their kind of their scheduled day for their channel. Then they would send the link into this community and say, would everybody please like, comment, and share it so that we can get some action going on the video, and then this will get me more views. And what I noticed about a lot of these creators was they were all failing miserably. Nobody was watching their videos. I'm sure some people were benefiting, but the point was their focus, their energy, and everything was in the wrong place. And I tried this, and after about 4 or 5 weeks, I noticed that YouTube didn't like it. In relation to the circulation of my videos, and the subscriber count started to drop in relation to how many people had been engaging in my work, which was what was most important to me. And so I stopped that, and I got back to just this. What's this all about? What do they need from me? And so there's a reason I'm telling you this, because I think that a lot of us, we tend to do this in our job searches. And I can tell this based on the questions you ask me. I can tell this based on the reactions of the results that you get. And what I want to know is, what if you were able to, and this is going to be part of the challenge, not focus on getting the job, but you focused and became obsessed with everything other than that. What is it that I'm doing? What is it that I'm sending? What is it that I'm learning? You become absolutely, your energy is completely dialed in to what it is you're doing at that moment. But not just, I'm not talking about concentrating. Okay, I'm going to give you a very specific way tactically that I want you to go about this to get your energy dialed in the right direction, but that you are considering what you're doing in advance. There's a preamble to this, there's an active doing, and there's a post-act. And I think if you are able to do this, like my favorite monk and coach Don DePani and about a bajillion other people say or claim, right, where your awareness goes, energy flows. And I'm telling you that if you start to focus on things this way in your job search, you will start manifesting the results that you hope for. But more importantly than that, you'll also start learning more and experiencing more. And what do I always tell you? What have I told you for years in and years out about experience? It's not what happens to you. It's the meaning you attach to what happens to you. You can change your experience at any time you want after the fact, right? So here's what I want to do. I got some note cards for you. We got green ones today, money green. And I want you to, I want you to kind of take my job search challenge. Now, I designed this talk and what I'm about to share with you. It'll benefit anybody, even if you don't know what the challenge is. But just to recap, what my job search, a 1-minute tutorial on what my job search challenge is the job search challenge is about getting you to do things that I, as a coach and a recruiter, know to be high value activities that lead to job search results, ultimately helping you find your dream job. And it's done in a manner that gets you consistent each day with putting in the repetitions. And I don't want you to do it mindlessly. And while this is quota-based, where I want you to target 3 companies every single day, I want you to find a person in each one of those companies every single day. And I want you to send a thoughtful message in the direction of that person, whether it's directly to that person like a boss or a recruiter or a potential teammate or a friend that you know that can refer you to somebody inside that organization, but basically getting in that direction. 3 companies a day, 3 people a day, 3 messages a day. You might say, well, Andy, hang on, you're talking about scoring systems and outputs and stuff. I thought you were going to be talking about energy and another kind of challenge. Well, the quota in and of itself, I know that to work because those are high value activities. And what I'm going to try to do with you today is to help you focus on the high value activities and get more value out of the high value activities, so to actually increase the ROI, the return, and the shelf life of that experience. Okay, so initially when you're not familiar with something, you need to put in repetitions in order to do the things, to get better at doing the things. But also a big part of the job search challenge, what it's doing is it's transforming your confidence and your comfort level in interacting with people you do not know, for the purpose of getting into an organization or getting them to help you get into an organization. And there are usually fears associated with doing this. So the conditioning of the job search challenge and the quota-based approach is what helps you overcome that. Now what I want you to do today is I want you to start looking at some of these activities in a different manner. And that's what I want to change. So the first thing that this whole discussion prescription is about is I want to take you from a one-axis scoring system. Did they respond to me? Did I get a job? Did I get paid what I want? Whatever your axis is, to something that becomes more immeasurable for you over time. Okay? So that the shelf life of the experiences and the benefit you gain from the experiences that you are going through as part of your job search stay with you in a positive manner. Okay, in a positive manner. So here are the two goals that that I want you to shoot for with everything I'm about to tell you. So these are the two goals. I want you to focus your energy in on everything that you're doing. Literally, I'm going to show you how to do this, so it's not foo-foo stuff. I'm literally going to tell you what to think about. All right, focus your energy in so that it manifests the results that you want. That's the first thing. The second thing we're going to do is I want to make sure that you are gaining the experience in the act of the doing and attaching the right meaning to what's actually happening so that you are looking at it and it is benefiting you from an experiential standpoint. Just because we do things in our lives does not mean we actually grow. I know project managers who've been doing project management for 15 years who've done nothing other than repeat the same year over and over and over and over and over again. They don't get better, they don't do more, they don't do less. They basically are like walking time, all right? That's what I want you to get away from as it relates to your job search, because there's so many riches that are there. And I think the disconnect that we have robs us of the riches in that experience. Okay, so let's get to the things I'd like you to try. All right, so challenge number one. This one here is, I want you to think about not what's available in the world, but what you want. Okay, now a lot of times you'll hear me talk about this. If you're in my job search coaching program in the boot camp, we started out in module 1 about getting everything you want in order. If you're not in that program, out on my YouTube channel, I have a video about how to choose the right job. A big part of this exercise is thinking about what you want, building your requirements, and making sure that they are in order. And I know a lot of you do that, okay? So that's great. That's one step. But what I think that we do after we put that together and we start to make the list of questions, the mechanical part of what I instruct is take what you want, start identifying the questions that you're going to ask the employer in order to know whether the employer can satisfy them. But I think what happens is we really lose sight of what's important to us as we get into the war, so to speak, right? You get in the boxing ring and the plan goes out the window. Right? And you're bobbing and weaving and ducking and putting your hands up and all this other stuff. And I think we lose sight of that. And what I've been really proud of over the last 3 or 4 weeks is I've had a lot of coaching sessions with individuals, and almost to a person, they've said to me, Andy, I cannot get over what a difference it made as I went into each of my interviews and, like you said, reminded myself. Right? I've shown you guys the first page of my journal. I have a journal. It's this little beauty where I write in every day. In the front page of the journal is a list of a number of things that I want to do each day and a number of things that I want to remind myself of each day. Why do I have to look at it every single day? Because I go through crazy days just like you do. What happens? We lose sight of what's important to us. What happens when I want to, I start to lose sight of that. I need to be reminded. Well, isn't it a great way to start each day by reminding myself of what I need to do? Wouldn't it be great is if as you went into the interviews, you said, okay, what is it I want to make sure I get out of this interview? The information that I need. I recognize you're not always going to be able to get it, but continue to think about and focus on what you want. And another element of this on a very, very macro level, I do this every single day of my life, 10 minutes a day. I think about everything I want to manifest in my life. I think about you guys. I pray for you guys. I think about what I want for you, people in my community, people in my programs, people in my house, people that are connected to me, people whose lives I've touched. And I think about what I want to happen. And I want you to be thinking about what you want to happen, not the limits you think there are in the world, because, my dream job isn't there. No, what I really want to do is that, well, if that's what you really want to do, I want you to continue to think about how to make that happen. I want this, and how do I want to make that happen? Not it can't happen, not I don't know how to do it. All of that's part of the manifestation process. This is just the first step. Now, getting into more details, the second thing, instead of trying to game the ATS, what if you considered the bosses? I'm going to be really specific here. Now, I showed you that part of my YouTube channel, right? I was trying to game YouTube, which was exhausting and ineffective, okay? When the fact of the matter was, I just started to say, no, I lost sight of myself there for a second. I lost what was important to me. I'm going back to that. I know that the people who need me, I have faith that they will find me when they need to, and I will be here for them. And they will come across my video. How many of you have sent me nice emails that says, I totally came across your video by accident? There are no accidents. Trust me, I was praying for that. All right, and you found me when you needed to. Now, here's what I want you to do in relation to the ATS and the bosses. First thing is, I want you to make sure that when you are bringing yourself to them, you're sending out a boss hunting letter, so to speak. And I know I've given you a template, so you all have access to a template. But could you think for a minute, how many, go in the chat, tell me if any of you do this. Do you spend any time thinking about the boss? What might he or she be going through? Their LinkedIn picture looks warm and welcoming. They might have a happy life. They look like they're having a bad life. I bet they're in really tough shape because their industry's cratering right now. Can you think about what they might need? Can you think about them before you type the email or overwrite my template? Could you do that? I guarantee you, if you did that, your letter will have more emotion and be better. I mean, in a good way. You likely will get better results because you're pouring your energy into it. And good things just happen. Do you know that every time I come, so a few minutes before I turned the camera on and we started this show, I sat in that chair back there, the one you could probably see in the overly cloudy room, and I thought about you. And I think about what must they be going through? And they're here with me. It's 11:23, middle of the day, and they want to learn about job searching in their careers. They're probably struggling. And I'm probably going to get asked questions I've been asked the week before. I might even get asked the same question by the same person 2 times. And I think about, what would it be like to be them? What would it be like not to know what I know? What they need my help, right? So it helps with my empathy. Well, you know what? If I get asked the same question again, isn't that a golden opportunity for me to package my answer better, make sure I could either be tighter, faster, or include more information or a different analogy or a comparison and contrast that makes it register with them more effectively, right? That's the exercise I go through every single time the camera goes on. But it's every single time I write an email to you that I hope you read, right? Imagine if you could pour your energy into that before you send your boss hunting cover letter. Don't try to game the ATS system. Yeah, go through some quick, obvious things and keywords and stuff. But I would rather challenge you to really think about the boss. What else might this do? I just got done talking about thinking about you in advance of the bunch of questions that I'm going to answer after we're done with this. And my empathy is going to be dialed in. It helps me receive the question. It helps with my response to you, right? What about when a boss responds or doesn't respond to you? Maybe you'll be more empathetic. Maybe you will be better at responding, or your reaction will be better in your response or response to silence. Okay, so I want to challenge you to do that. Now, here's another one. This is going to be hard for a lot of you. Hang on, I want to put myself on mute for a second. What if you went into your interviews, humor me here, people, and you didn't think about passing the interview, you thought about that's actually relations, building long-term relationships with the interviewer. I'm going to go into this interview, and I know I'm going to eventually work here, so I'm going to start building my relationship with them right now. And whether they hire me or don't hire me, I'm going to make sure they walk away better for having known me. Would it maybe make you more caring of them if they got a sourpuss look on their face? Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe their house didn't sell. Maybe they're stressed out and their kid is sick. Maybe they got in a car accident on the way to work. I don't know. Maybe they've never been trained in how to interview and they're asking you silly questions. Would this help in the way you react, you field your responses? I'm telling you that it will. If you prep yourself in advance when you go in there. And if you go in with that long-term mindset, what do I always say? The longer term you think, the better short-term moves you make, right? The smarter the short-term decisions you make and the more effective your short-term actions are if you're thinking long-term. If you go into the interview, I always assume I'm going to win, okay? Because I want to plan for success. All right, let me give you an analogy into my life, but it's very, very close to what you're going through in interviews. As a recruiter, the Mile Walk Andy recruiter, executive recruiter guy, we would recruit job candidates, right? We'd pick the phone, we'd call them up, and I had a job in my hand because there was an impetus to reach out to that candidate because my client contracted me to go hire somebody for them. When I would get on the phone with that person, first thing I would say to them, before I got on the phone and when I got on the phone, I would say, look, yes, I have an opportunity. That was the impetus to reach out to you. Before we get to all that, it's important for me to understand you because the most important thing for me right now is building a relationship with you. That's the value I bring you, and it's the best way that I can help you if I understand what it is you want. And starting it off that way and building that relationship and making sure that no matter what, they're a better person for having met me, that went a long way. Now, let's turn it into a more pressure-filled situation. I go to sell our recruitment services. This is like you selling yourself in a job interview. In the 16 years or so that Mile Walk, the executive search firm, has been in existence, we've worked with over 200 companies. That's a lot of companies that we've met with, that we've gone and we've looked at whether we can help them. And we would initially have some type of discovery session, which served as a, hey, we'll share what we're about, you share what you about, kind of a sales kind of interaction. And whether they called us and said, hey, could you come and help us, or whether we reached out to them or we were referred to them by somebody, inevitably, most of the time, we were competing with other recruitment firms. And in the history of Mile Walk, you might have a rough time wrapping your mind around this. Every single time we got into a competitive situation, we never lost. We batted 1,000, 0 losses, and hundreds of wins. And there's a reason for that. And it's not just because we're great at what we do. I love to think that, but there's more to it than that. And it's what I'm about to share with you and what I think you can take into your interviews that will greatly increase your results in the interview and your experiences. So we would talk to the people and I would say, okay, I would like you to you and whoever is representing this search, carve out 90 minutes and I and my team will come and visit you. There's a search assignment questionnaire that we need to walk through that gives me all the information that I need to be able to assess who it is you're looking for. I can give you insight into your search and so on. And I would say to them, if they immediately said, hey, that sounds great, we'll carve the time out. I didn't have to say a whole lot. If they said, well, 90 minutes is kind of a lot of time, I'm not really sure we can spare that much time, I would say, no problem. We don't need to come and visit. We wish you a lot of luck. I'm sure you'll be able to find some other firm to help you. In which case they would basically kick back to me and say, well, what do you mean? You don't even want to come and visit? And I would say, well, no. I mean, if you don't want to carve out 90 minutes to go through all the information that's going to save you a ton of time down the road, not to mention help you avoid a lot of mistakes you're going to make down the road. If it's not that important to you, it's not that important to me, right? And I know from my experience, this is what it takes. And so I would also say to them, but I'll tell you what, to give you a little bit of a scoot, I promise you that if you spend the 90 minutes with us, that it won't be wasted because you will be better for having met with us, because even if you don't choose us, you will have all this information that you will need to have surfaced anyway, and you'll have it done. It's like a working session. And if you want, we can try to minimize the amount of time we spend. Maybe it doesn't have to be 90 minutes. I'll send you all the information in advance. And I would do that. And then they would call us down and we would go through this session where they would inevitably do things like, oh man, I never thought about that. Wow, I wish I would have known to do that. We had one company, had 4 C-level people in the room. They could not believe that they couldn't agree on something that should have been foundational for their company, and they thanked us for the therapy session and told us that they probably should have paid us just for the facilitation of that. But I'd say to them, I'm not leaving the room until you all agree, because this is the problem. Right, they're better for having met me. We went on to work together. Now, when you go into these interactions in the interviews, if you are thinking with that kind of mindset, you pour your energy into saying, let me make sure you walk away better for having known me. Maybe you have a problem inside your company that I could give you ideas. All of those interview questions that are situational in nature, that call for you to project solutions. All you senior folks out there, put together the plans, put together the strategies, put together the documentation. Call it an investment. And if nothing else, they walk away better for having known you, even if you didn't get hired. You start thinking like this, your results will be so much better. I know this may sound crazy to you, but a lot of you ask me, Andy, should I put this, 30, 60, 90-day plan together? What if they don't hire me? So what? So what? Treat them as though they're, that's great. They're better for having known me. You learned a bunch. You got to spend some time and focus on putting together something that you can likely use in the future. That's the mentality you got to have. Okay? So try that. I'm building a relationship with you. I'm planting seed number 1 today, and then you water it through the rest of the process, right? Then by the time you get there, you're in good shape. All right. Challenge number 4. What if you went into the salary negotiation? Every job recruitment candidate of mine gets this lecture, okay? The employer is not your competitor. They are your teammate. The moment they say, we would like to make you an offer, the clock starts. You are teammates. Now, you either both win or you both lose. There is not a winner and a loser in this, okay? You join forces together, you win. You don't join forces, you both lose. Now, you might have another offer you're looking to take, but that's separate. Okay, so could you, before you go into these interactions, think of each other as a teammate? What do teammates do? They work together to achieve a common goal. What else do teammates do? Any of you guys married? Right? Do you communicate with each other? Is it worth it to explain to each other what's going on and your rationale so that you understand my why, your why? I know what drives that. I know why you care about that. I know why that matters to you. I know why you need a $20,000 moving stipend. Well, because if I have to pay $20,000 out of my pocket, that's going to hurt. Right? That's a pretty easy one to understand, but you get my drift, right? So could you be thoughtful? Could you explain yourself? There's nothing wrong with explaining yourself. In fact, it behooves you to do this. So can I challenge you, number 4, to do this? The employer is a teammate. Yeah, I want you to get the most out of it. Yes, I want you to counter offer. Yes, I want you to do all that stuff. Do it in a team-oriented fashion. You're working together to achieve a common goal. And then the last thing that I want you to do is at the end of each day, like today, tomorrow, the next day, and so on, it's not dwelling on what happened, but asking yourself, what did I learn? What did I learn today? And don't give me this, well, I learned that they're mean and they didn't get back to me. I learned that they're still dragging their feet. No. What'd you learn about yourself? That your energy and your focus and where you're concentrating is on something you shouldn't be. If they didn't get back to you, that's not where your energy should be. The funnel, the marketing funnel, right? The whole, hang on, wait, oh, I should have been ready for this one. What happens? Your energy is in here, right? It should be up here. What did you learn? I learned I wasn't being patient. Maybe my cover letter wasn't strong. I don't know. Collect the data. Think about what's happening. Can you teach yourself? Can you condition yourself? Can you learn so that you benefit from the experience and the experience doesn't confine you and take you to negative town? Right? What did I learn? If you approach these 5 things, let's recap it real quick. If you approach these 5 things this way, I guarantee you will be taking the job search challenge and all related activities up several notches. Okay, it's not what's available, it's what I want. And you're gonna hear a great story in the job search minicamp about that from somebody who had relocated countries. Don't try to game the ATS, consider the bosses. I'm not talking about targeting the bosses, I'm talking about, I want you to target the bosses. When you target the bosses, can you think about them? What are they going through? All that stuff, right? Put some emotion into it, some energy and thought and consideration into it before, during, and after. When you get into the interviews, it's not about passing the interview, it's about building long-term relationships. Think about Andy requesting 90 minutes from every prospect that he ever went to sit down with and how much better they were for having done that. I want you to be walking in saying, these people are going to be better off for having met me. Okay, in the interviews. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The employer is not a competitor. They're not fighting with you. They want to give you an offer, which means they want to make it work. All right, consider yourself teammates. And then at the end of each day, it's not what happened. Yes, I want you to reflect on what happened. But what did I learn? What's the meaning I'm going to attach to what it is that I'm doing? Okay, you do this, I guarantee you the ROI and the richness of your job search experience will be so much more lasting, life-lasting, than what you're going through today. All right, hope you enjoyed that. How'd I do? 37. All right, well, all good. And if you're here with me live, we're going to the Q&A. If you're watching me on the recording, I'll see you next week.